Hello all, welcome again to another SystemShark audio commentary. This audio commentary copyrighted 2006, WCReplays.com, because that's who's copywriting it. Great. Alright guys, today we're going to go over something that's a fundamental orc strategy that a lot of controversy on. Is it in, but is it not? But here we go. It's towers, guys. I'm going to do an audio commentary on orc offensive towers. I can hear all the night elves and undeads and everybody else screaming, "Oh no, don't do that! Don't tell them to do towers!" Dude, if you check Battle.net's website under orc strategies, I think advanced strategies or something like that under Battle.net, they actually tell you to start using towers offensively. So they were intended to be used offensively. I mean, or at least that was suggested by the people who made the game. So Battle.net strategies, guys, it says to use towers offensively. Anyway, I got a bunch of replays from people who sent them from my last audio commentary. I asked everybody to send me replays to critique. So I figured I'm going to do some audio commentaries on those games that people send me. And I think I'm just going to continue to do it this way for a while, because this is the way I get replays that you guys haven't seen. Now, they're not going to be pro replays, obviously. They're from average Joe players. And, I think some of the average players that actually listen to the website, or that, the patrons of our good old website here, are actually average players, and they might learn more from watching other average players and getting some tips on what went good, what went bad. That might help them out more, in addition to obviously seeing the entertaining pro games, because those are just really cool. Anyway, get the replay. The first one synced up at 2 minutes at 1x speed. This is going to be a game that Samwise sent me. He's an orc player that I've been critiquing games on for a while now, even before I suggested that people send me replays. So thanks, Samwise, again for sending me all these replays. It's definitely fun to look over your stuff, and you're definitely improving all the time, man. Alright, so got the replay going here. Again, we're going over towers, how they do good, how they do bad, how to counter them, things like that. This is Samwise Gamzee versus Fun Account for Training. It's Orc versus Night Elf on Twisted Meadows. And we'll just go get it on pause, and then I'll talk about it for a second here. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Alright, we're on pause. 2 minutes at 1x speed. For Twisted Meadows, I like going Farseer. Any map that's slightly bigger, and that you might need the extra creeping power. I'm a big fan of the Blade Master lately, but Farseer with the Wolves, just your creeping potential is insanely high. Scouting potential is really great, and the summons are just added bonus to having those extra units in your army, especially during a tier 2 push, which is something really good. You notice how quick this game is going. It's pretty much a quarter of the way done already, and we're only 2 minutes into it, so it's definitely going to be a short game. Now, what Samwise does in this game, which is really, really good, is he goes for this like tier 1 mix with a dual barracks right as soon as he starts second to tier 2. Not as soon as he techs it, but eventually he gets a dual barracks. Here he goes, dual barracks coming out. And when he hits when he gets ready for his push, he starts pumping headhunters. Now headhunters, not only do bonus damage versus dryads and huntresses, which are even a druid to the talent, so it's good units to have, especially when the night elf might be getting their tier 2 army going. They're also they can produce units quickly, so when you're trying to get an army push, trying to help your towers, it might be better to have the more mobile and just more units rather than having bigger, stronger units like grunts. So getting more headhunters out is a good idea. So Samwise is sending his wolves in to try to scout out the enemy base. You want to do this earlier on when you're planning to do towers, so you can kind of plan out where you want to set those towers up. The Demon Hunter, however, has entered the Orc base and is almost surrounded here by the grunts, but he should be able to get out, I think. Yep, right there he can get out. He's trying to take out the barracks that was being built, but really good building placement by Samwise here. The burrows are right behind the barracks that are the barracks that's being constructed, and he's going to be able to defend that easily versus just the level 1 Demon Hunter.
We're under attack.
So before you do towers, before you're starting your rush, you want to try to get your hero to level 3. Just to get that extra chain lightning, or I think in Samwise's case he goes for the extra wolves. We'll see it obviously during the push. I actually, if I'm going to go summons, I want to get the wolves. If I'm going to go a strategy where I want the extra, where I'm going Torrent Chieftain and Shockwave versus a lot of low HP tier 1 units, I'll get the higher level Chain Lightning and try to go for level 2 Shockwave as well with my Torrent Chieftain. In this case, you're going to see a different hero choice done by Samwise, and we'll get to that when we get to it here. Now you see his tech is a little bit delayed. Normally, because he put that second barracks up, this is okay. He's going to have a much easier time dealing with those archers and dealing with that Demon Hunter having more grunts out earlier on like this. But again, a pretty delayed tech here. But it works out well for him, so it's not necessarily a rush, it's more of a tier 2 push. A rush would be something you do right off the beginning of the game and bring your towers in to do that. So Samwise is not rushing, he's teching, and this is a straight strategy. He's trying to creep. This also gives him plenty of time before he does his push to get to get his level 3 Farseer here. Definitely good move by Samwise. Now Samwise, this is not his push here, although he is bringing his... Wow, I thought he had tech to tier 2 in this game. Oh well, so much I know. This is his push. He's not teching the tier 2, this is a tier 1 tower push. Definitely outside the box here, and he's starting to produce his headhunters. I thought he got his Fire Lord. This must have been a different game than I saw by Samwise. Anyway, this still is a tower rush game, and it still shows how effective this can be. A different way of pulling off the tower rush instead of the standard tech to tier 2 to get those demolishers out. Anyway, he's hitting the Night Elf at a really good time because the Night Elf standard tech, he's at tier 2 now, producing his Ancients of Wind. So he's hitting them before those nasty Druids of the Talon get out. Demon Hunter almost died. He probably could have got a last hit in with his Farseer. He probably didn't notice that. The tower's going up right now. Samwise is putting a lot of focus on getting these buildings out. Probably should be trying to target those archers and huntresses that could be taking down his towers. He actually just lost one tower, wasn't able to cancel it. But still, at this point, his grunts are going to be able to put up more of a fight versus archers and Druids of the Talon, or archers and huntresses. Again, losing some units doesn't really matter at this point of the game, or at this point, because he's going to be able to mass produce those headhunters, which he's still trying to get out at his base. Again, they produce a lot faster, so it's a good move there. It's going to be over pretty quick here. Once those towers get up, it's kind of like saying checkmate to your opponent. It's I think of them as like a timer, especially if you place them well and you're able to hold the pressure. A key point of doing towers is being able to, once you have the advantage, hold the advantage and keep that pressure on. Because the minute you let up, it's going to give him, your opponent, the opportunity to counter your strategy. There, he just microed out a grunt really good there with Fairy Fire. Almost got killed by the Ancient of Wind. Now the part of the strategy is, once you have the advantage, to not lose your grunts and headhunters recklessly just to the buildings. So you see him backing off and letting his towers do their thing, force the opponent out of the base. And normally you're going to you do that with your demolishers, but in this case he's got his towers placed well, and the Night Elf building placement is really far back. Now what I see some Night Elves doing is they'll uproot their buildings and try to bring them in with their army. In this case, the buildings were kind of in the mix of his army, so keeping them rooted gives them more, gives them that fortified armor, and they can do that damage, rather than if they're uprooted, I don't think they get the fortified armor. So now it's just sitting back. He's got his towers where he needs them. Now he has to deal with an H Protector in the very far back here by the Night Elf. Night Elf should have probably moved his H Protector up a little bit further, not quite in range of the towers, but just to kind of make it so if Samwise had to push up further that he would be able to stop it. Also, he could have positioned him where if Samwise wants to advance with some of his towers, that the H Protector could do some damage to them while they're under construction. Samwise has now got his level 2 wolves. He did opt for those when he hit level 3. And the Demon Hunter goes down. A frustrated Night Elf will say GG. Alright, I'm going to end the game. It's over now. They left the game there. You can guys go ahead and get the second replay. Synced up at the 2-minute mark. Set the 1x speed again. And we'll get that going here. This is going to be a game on a smaller map with Orc versus Undead. I want to go over a few things. Now, as an Orc player, I don't use towers, mainly because my girlfriend plays Undead, and she'll get mad and throw stuff at me when she sees towers going up. Plus, there's it's kind of like an honor thing. I don't know if that's why the high-end players don't do it, but I kind of don't think that there's a lot of honor in using the towers. Certain ways, maybe, you know. I mean, players get so frustrated with it, and it's kind of a lack. It can be seen as a lack of skill thing because it doesn't take as much micro. But hey, if you don't have the micro, I mean, why just why force it to? I guess you could practice. Say that as an excuse. It's kind of giving up on your micro skills, maybe going with strategy skills. But this is a strategy game, and players with micro should be able to beat towers relatively easily. So I'm still syncing the game up here. The second game at the 2-minute mark. Trying to go on my spiel about honor and towers. Probably falling on deaf ears with most of my orc playing friends. And don't get me wrong, I like towers as much as the next guy, especially when they're beating races that I really don't like Night Elf and Undead. Towers make me really happy when I see that. Makes me even more happy though when I see orc players beating Night Elf and Undead, not using towers and not using those imba pushes there. You got to think in the higher level average gameplay and even actually the higher level play as well, the towers aren't going to do so well. Players are going to have expected that, and they already have kind of innate ways to scout for that. And since when you're building up your towers, you're going to need to have kind of an element of surprise. And this next game here will show you how that element of surprise will definitely pay off, but and also a creative way to counter the towers. So, element of surprise, another facet of having to go towers if you're going to opt for that strategy. Alright, let's go ahead and get it unpaused now, and you guys should be synced up. I'm going to watch it from the orc perspective, but I want to switch to the undead when the towers are about to rise. Actually, when the peons are on the way, we'll switch to undead so we can see what the undead sees during the tower push. So let's go ahead and get it unpaused. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Alright, this is Just Luck versus D3D. Indeed, I guess. This is the undead player is actually the player who sent it to me for a critique. So thanks again, D3D, for sending that replay to me. Hope you like seeing your replay in a audio commentary, and if you don't, I'm sorry. But definitely, I want to use it to make a point here about how orc towers can be countered, and you counter this in a very creative way, albeit risky. But an orc player generally wouldn't expect this to happen, and he definitely was prepared to handle it in the way that you countered it here. So definitely a good move. Early on, D3D is going to be going more ghouls than fiends. You'll notice that his build order with his buildings here actually isn't a fiend build order. He's going more grunts. Now, this is another different thing from what I see most undead players doing versus orc. I mean, fiends are just so powerful versus orc with the they can take a lot of damage. I think they might even have more. I think they have more HPs than a ghoul does, and that focus fire on grunts early on is crazy. And even during when you get your lich out at tier 2, that focus fire is pretty crazy. But plus you can heal easily with coil. I'm so frustrated with Death Knight lately. I lose so much to undead. Anyway, this game is about towers, my man, not about undead imbas that I think. No, undead's not imba. I just suck at playing them lately. I need more practice. He's bringing. This is something you want to do as an undead player. Keep your orc opponent kind of occupied and not let him do his harassing by keeping your Death Knight around when he's doing the creep. And while you're doing that, you are amassing your ghoul army to either help you with a harass or creep by to creep while you're harassing, or just kind of keeping tabs on your opponent with the Death Knight. Now, keeping your Death Knight around will prohibit the orc player from getting like last hits on creeps. You know, it's D3D here trying to get some surrounds off on some grunts, trying to use the trees to his potential, but do have some good micro here going off by the orc player. Again, just using not really attacking with his grunts or his ghouls, not A-clicking, but he's just kind of moving ahead, clicking ahead of his the orc, the grunts and the farseer, whatever he sees he can get the positioning on, he'll do. The risk is that ghouls are really low HP, so just a little bit of focus fire is going to bring a ghoul down pretty quick. Right now he's got a really good, or he had a decent surround on the farseer, but it was blocked off by some grunts, so he's losing it here. Tries to opt for it again. He's going to force the TP. If you can do this early on, definitely a good thing. Use coil to save a really low HP ghoul, but the grunts were able to, and the farseer were able to do enough damage to kill it. Cloak of Shadows used imbally at the nighttime mark here. He had his shop up. I know it probably wasn't something he was thinking about going versus an orc player, but I mean, dust helps. He probably could have clicked on the farseer and seen the Cloak of Shadows, and dust is kind of cheap, so you don't have to worry about that. Now is ghouls are, if you hold alt, you'll see that a lot of them are in orange or they're getting hit pretty hard. So you want to back off. You don't want to lose your early ghouls like this. They're so weak early on versus grunts. So try to